Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review for the Avengers issue 4 2023. Dang, that is a pretty crazy ass looking cover, and Tony does get into this trouble in this issue, so I really like how it's able to link up like that while also showcasing the powers of the City Smith from the Ashen Combine. And a really kind of cool thing that we get in this issue, though not really in the Spidey issue, is a tribute to John Romita, and we see that up here where the numbering is and everything, and it's actually the beginning of this comic as well, as they have a tribute for him that kind of goes over his contributions and then continues on showcasing covers and big issues and people like Kevin Feige, CB Cebulski, Nick Lowell, Dan Buckley, and just kind of talking about his contributions and how much he will be missed. And I thought that was really kind of cool. Granted, it's kind of weird that we've got an Amazing Spider-Man issue that doesn't have that stuff in it, but it probably was because of they were able to fit it into this one more easily. So, we start off, and we pretty much had seen that the Ashen Combine was going about killing the cities that they wanted to kind of go for. And we start off with the Impossible City continuing its narration, talking about heroes, that it's been a long time since they've been flying through its streets, as we see Sam relaying information to Black Panther that he's not encountering anybody, that it's an empty city, which I do like how it sells the desolation within the Impossible City of just this is kind of weird looking. And of course, the city keeps narrating, talking about how the Ashen Combine have met heroes and killed them. T'Challa pretty much is good, this gives us insight into our enemies, that they're predators, used to descending upon the homes of their prey and sowing terror. And that we keep getting a narration that the colorful costumes of these heroes are nailed to the walls of the Impossible City. But the Black Panther knows something about sowing terror. Let them look up and see their home burning up in re-entry, as he's pretty much planting bombs around the Impossible City. And the Impossible says, "It will be sad, I think, to see these costumes join those of the murder." And Sam's like, "That's fine, but you know the deal. No collateral damage. I find as much as a janitor in this creep show, saving lives takes precedence." And then T'Challa's like, "Don't presume to lecture me, man. I know you and me have reasons to be on unfriendly terms, but just don't." So then we shift to Vatican City with getting more kind of information on Idol Alabaster, that it's not a god, but in her constant desire for worship, she will brook no competition, and this will not be the first god she has killed. And I fucking love the art, how it sells, it shifts panel-wise until we see Idol Alabaster and Thor swinging his hammer like that, getting ready to unleash some shit. Let's see. So then we get Thor talking about, "You would be a god, would you? Allow me to show you what that means. Lesson the first, smiting." And then, of course, Alabaster's like, "I offer you mercy once. Long have I hungered for the taste of a god's adoration." It's geez, the arrogance on this thing. As we see them, duking it out. "Worship me and live. Again, I say thee nay." It's yes, Thor. And then we get a really cool kind of change up of how the page is laid out, utilizing Thor's thunder as kind of the way to separate the kind of panels, which is really fucking cool. And then Idol Alabaster's like, "I can't be defeated. My worshippers see me as invincible, and so I am. Every new worshipper makes me stronger, and my influence spreads wider. And if you hurt me," as we then see him unleash lightning on Idol Alabaster, we see it harm their worshippers. And we see that this really affects Thor. He's like, "You." And then says that you'll have to kill every one of the worshippers to hurt me, godling, every one of your people. Have you the belly for it? Are you indeed a god? It's damn, that's a good kind of conundrum to kind of have for Thor to kind of do that, because he doesn't want to. So he's got to really think his way out of that situation. So then we shift to Sydney, and God, the dead is just nutty looking, just we see all this effective use of green everywhere. That's why I like that they've kind of got colors associated with them. The dead is elemental. They do not negotiate or threaten. They do not speak at all. The dead's unspoken language is the rage of the forgotten, as we see Wanda utilizing her magics to shield people, telling them to get to safety. And then delivers her last warning to release these spirits, and we just see that the dead says nothing, but just as a close-up of their eye looking at her. And then she's like, very well, witness the living Darkhold. It's like, that's a kind of big thing to kind of unleash Wanda. What the fuck, man? And then we see that was not particularly the best kind of idea for her to do, as we see something else talking. Ghosts. You know all about ghosts, don't you, Wanda? What? That voice. But there are ghosts of the dead, and then there are ghosts of those still alive. You thought thought me chained within your soul, Wanda, but ghosts do so love rattling their chains, don't they? And it's Chthon. It's like, she says that under her breath. It's like, damn! That's not good. So then we shift to Toronto, as we see that the City Smith, perhaps alone among the Ashen Combine, is sensitive, as he then is shouting, Philistine, boor, Bulgarian, at Tony because he was criticizing his work. And then we get, after I beat your ass into the ground, City Smith, I'm going to have to find out how your translation works, because you've got a hell of a vocabulary for someone new to this world. You don't understand. No one ever understands, as we see the City Smith lamenting that, and damn, I love the look of Tony's armor there. Just really kind of cool seeing it in flight. And still seeing the shifting of the different kind of colors here. And then we see him utilizing his powers to try and take on Tony. I understand that you're trashing my second favorite Canadian city. I'm not sure what else there is to get. My colleagues like to kill cities. We each have our obsessions. But I bring liberation. Damn it, he's too unpredictable. I can't map out a path. I bring inspiration. I take the tired dross of the world, as we even see a close-up of the City Smith. And I make art, as we then see one page as the art is attempting to devour Iron Man. It's like, that's not good. So we get back to Thor fighting Idol Alabaster and cursing. We see Thor cursing the idol. Damn all your eyes. You think yourself my equal in these skies? My skies? What? The winds? As we see him utilizing the winds to muck with her. Mark you well, the hawk wings I am crowned with, creature. The winds are mine to command. It's a kind of yellow kind of thing. Okay. The storm lives in my heart, the lightning in my blood. Oh, very good, Thunder God, but this isn't the stalemate you think it is. You cannot harm me for fear of killing my supplicants. My feathers can only scratch you. But the worship I feed on, the adoration, as we see Thor looking at her like, can be vomited forth to kill even a god, especially a god, as we see that she utilizes that adoration to attack him. It's like, damn. We get back to Wanda, dealing now with not just the ghosts, but also Chthon. She's saying this isn't real. Perhaps I am just one of your own fears made manifest, as these other ghosts have been. But then, you've always had a problem telling what was real from what was not, haven't you, Wanda? You know that you're the most powerful of them all, don't you? You could destroy the Avengers if you wanted to. In fact, I think that you already did. Don't, as we see her trying to deal with all this going on at once. It's like, ooh, damn. Don't you say that, as she then blasts at Chthon, but this then leaves her open to the rest of them to attack her, and that's just a crazy looking page as all these dead fling themselves at her. Oh, Wanda, Wanda, all that power and still so easy to make you lose control. She's gonna have some problems there. So we see that Tony is still having problems in Toronto, and he's almost getting eaten, but he's like, ah! It's no use to struggle, I mean, but please continue. I've never been one for performance art, but you and your flailing are really making quite a good case for it. But no, I believe in stillness, motion being only implied. That takes skill, let me tell you. As we see that Tony gets trapped. And I suppose I must thank you. as we see that he gets like pretty much swallowed by this thing and then made into a ball thing. You've introduced such an interesting thread into my work. It's like, the Avengers are not doing so hot here. Now granted, we do not check in with Marvel at this point. But then we shift back to Sam and T'Challa dealing with the Impossible City, asking if there's any word from the rest of the team. T'Challa's like, no, and that worries me. It's like, yeah, as we see that Thor is falling, smoking from the skies. Me too. If these guys are bad enough to bother Thor, that's a problem. I'm more concerned about them being able to stand up to Wanda, as she is trying to deal with all them. It's like, yeah. Because no offense intended, Sam, but she is the only one of us who really gives me pause. I can never tell with you if I'm supposed to actually be offended or not. And your analysis forgets that Wanda is our ride back to Earth. I have a fail-safe in place. I always do, Sam. Of course you do. You smart guys always do. As it then shifts back as we see Tony. It's like, okay, how's Tony going to get out of that one? Then we get towards the end, and T'Challa's like, we got detonators, timers are reading green. As per our agreement, are you satisfied that there will be no loss of life? And then Sam's like, I am. I'm sorry, but I'm afraid that's incorrect. What the? You had one thing to do, Sam. Who's there? I am. I had another name once, but now I'm called the Impossible City. And I'm very sorry, but we're all going to die here. And it's like, oh, as it shifts out and ends out on the issue. And then we've got a letters page. It's like, yay! And then we see a kind of preview for the next one as Captain America and Black Panther explore the many mysteries and deadly dangers of the Impossible City, while back on Earth the remaining Avengers find themselves at the mercy of the Ashen Combine. And that is where we end. So, I really enjoyed this issue because it gave us understandings of the Ashen Combine's powers, how they kind of line up with the Avengers at this point, and this is very much the testing phase, seeing how they measure up to each other. The Ashen Combine versus the Avengers they've been pretty much tasked with, and of course you kind of have to have that kind of, we're on the back foot, you know what I mean? It's like, they don't know us, we don't know them, and somebody's got to get the advantage. So in these ones, we just see that the Ashen Combine is definitely something to be taken seriously. So I'm not adverse that we've got at least 3 of the main ones. We still have Marvel to check in on, and Vision as well. But we see that they're in some pretty dicey situations. Also as well, Sam and T'Challa dealing with the Impossible City. I do like seeing this. It's like, alright, cool, we understand how Idle Alabaster works. The dead, because of like their just propensity to not speak, we get more of that from the Impossible City. And then of course the City Smith versus Tony is a very interesting kind of matchup, and I think that'll be the one to kind of watch. Thor also trying to figure out how to deal with Idle Alabaster without harming the worshippers, and then Wanda dealing with all this stuff that could be going on with Chthon in her head and everything that can go from that. So this sets up a nice kind of thing. You always have to have that give and take. It's almost like the kind of shonen anime kind of style where you get that kind of first kind of feel for your adversaries, and they kind of push it to the heroes, and they're kind of on the back foot at first, but then you kind of have that back and forth seeing how they kind of deal with each other, how they think through their tactics, what their kind of power sets and moves are, and how to kind of go through that. Thor's is definitely going to be a really kind of good one to watch to see how he deals with Idle Alabaster and being sure not to harm the adherents. So I really liked it for how it was set up, how he checked in and shifted back and forth. It didn't seem jerky to me. Like, we hit one, we hit another, and then we kind of finished ourselves out towards the end as we see that more stuff is coming with the Impossible City. So I'm really looking forward to what's kind of going on with that. And I really like that they were able to do a John Romita tribute here like this, that I didn't feel, I was like, thank you. That works, and I use a big force for Marvel, and I'm glad that Marvel took the time to kind of do that. So, those are my opinions on the issue. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.